Hey guys, how's it going? So for this video, I'm really excited to showcase my latest acquisition, and there is, a bit of a story behind this piece. And well, let's do a revealing. It is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Dual Time, reference 26120, and this piece is really a bit of a dream come true. The Royal Oak is my favorite luxury timepiece. And for those of you who have been, following my channel and watch my videos, I used to have a vintage 5402 Royal Oak Jumbo. I had to sell that, and well, the reason was, I changed my I changed my diet. I started exercising more. I lost 50 pounds. And because of that, the bracelet was too big. The bracelet was a little stretched, and I could not remove any more links. And those vintage bracelets, they don't make them anymore. And so I was forced to sell them. I was forced to sell it, and I knew I needed a Royal Oak replacement. So why did I decide on the AP Dual Time? The obvious choice was to replace the vintage jumbo with the modern 15202 extra thin, ultra thin jumbo, but that was a little too expensive. I got a pretty good price for it, but I could really only afford up to about 20,000 US dollars for a replacement Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. So my choices were narrowed down to, well, obviously the 15300 or the 14790, which was slightly smaller, was 36 millimeter, but it retained a lot of the DNA from the vintage jumbo, from what I was used to. So bear in mind that I was replacing the vintage jumbo. Right, that was my first Royal Oak. I initially thought that was the keeper. I was never going to sell it, but then circumstances changed. I lost a bunch of weight. I could no longer wear it. I had to sell it, and I had to replace it with a modern Royal Oak. So to me, it was important that my replacement Royal Oak maintain the proportions of the vintage jumbo, which meant that it had to be a 39 millimeter diameter Royal Oak. Therefore, the 15400 was out of the question. It was a little too big for my wrist anyway, and so was the 14790, which was 36 mil. And I was also looking at the 15450, which was 37 millimeter. That was also a very beautiful timepiece, and I was really deciding between that or the 15300. Because of the sizing, I was leaning towards the 15300, and that I actually decided on the 15300. However, the more I looked at the 15300, it just didn't quite, for some reason, it just didn't quite sing to me. I mean, in terms of design aesthetics and proportions, it ticked off all the boxes, but coming from a vintage jumbo where it was ultra thin, the 15300 just didn't quite do it. It felt like I was settling for a 15300 coming from the vintage jumbo. But then I came across this watch, the 26120 Dual Time, and I absolutely love this piece. As a matter of fact, I think this retains more of the DNA from the vintage jumbo than the 15300, right? And let me explain. So, right, the proportions are the same: 39 millimeter case, solid case back, just like the 5402. It has no seconds hand, right? Which is what I was used to for for my vintage jumbo. It had the AP at 12, which was the same as my my vintage jumbo. It was a B series, and it features a JLC base movement, just like the vintage jumbo. And how this watch is, in my opinion, better than the vintage jumbo is that it has a screw down crown, right, which makes it a lot more water resistant, I feel. You know, that was my only negative about the vintage jumbo, was that because it was a pop out crown, push in pop out crown, you know, I would never take that swimming, right? But with this, no problem. I would go swimming with this anytime. I wouldn't be worried of any kind of moisture damage. So in my opinion, I think this watch was just more practical than the vintage jumbo. It also features, you know, a dual time zone, so there's a really great dial balance, right? It's busy, but at the same time it's very well distributed with all the sub dials and the proportions. The grand tapisserie, just excellent. Here I'm just gonna angle it a little bit, and you can see the depth of the dial. It's absolutely stunning. Right, this variant comes with the blue dial, black dial, and the white dial. I didn't really have a choice. This one just came up on the market and I picked it up. But I really like the white dial. The black dial looks great too. I didn't want to pay a premium for the blue dial. I think that's, you know, it's just a color. But I really like the white dial simply because, look at the depth. You know, sometimes it looks gray, it looks silver, it looks white. There's just 3D effect on it. The black dial looks great too, but I just think the white dial just kind of pops out a little bit more. And it's absolutely beautiful. You got little hints of red at a 31 date, the day-night indicator, and of course the power reserve. This watch only has a 40-hour power reserve, so that's a little low by modern standards, but you know, if you're wearing it, you know, it will always charge up, and it's actually quite a neat function to have. Right, solid case back, just like the vintage jumbo. Not to take anything away from the 15300. I mean, 15300 is a stunning piece, but you know, these were trading at around the same price, if not cheaper, than the 15300. So I think this is a much better value proposition, Royal Oak, compared to 15300. Those were very expensive, but rightfully so. 15300 is a great watch. However, you know, you get a complication on the Royal Oak while still maintaining the DNA in terms of design, movement, and you know, just overall look and aesthetics. Right? I feel that this watch is like the vintage jumbo with it's an evolution, right, with the added feature of the dual time zone. It's just simply beautiful. I really love it. Right, you see the AP at the clasp. Now, the one thing about these modern Royal Oaks is that they wear fairly large, because you know, these flanks over here, they don't go down. So you know, I'll do a wrist shot. I feel that these watches have to be worn fairly snug. Like, you don't want it dangling or being too loose, because it would just look really thick over here. But you know, I like to wear my watches past this wrist bone here, so it's fantastic. You know, it's a great proportions, and simply stunning. You know, definitely my favorite watch in the collection right now. The AP Royal Oak Dual Time, right? Highly recommended. Great bracelet, super comfortable. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm out.